all the way down, because in the past, I just kind of skipped over it really fast, but I slowed it all the way down and I asked them partnership. So we're in the middle of growing a massive agency. We want to open more and more locations. And to do that, we need a lot more new talent. So you guys told me that you work here and you work here. Do you guys enjoy it? That was the first question that I asked. The second question that I asked is, have you ever thought of venturing outside of your current career path into a different industry? If the money were right, you could work from home and make your own schedule. And the wife was super, well, the husband said, I already have a business outside of where we work. Oh, okay, awesome, good job. That's incredible, Mr. Husband. And the wife said, absolutely. I don't like working at Enterprise. And and she said, I have passive income and the ability to make my own schedule. And she starts talking all the bullet points that I love. And I said, wait a second, I know it's late, but it's a little early to start talking dirty. And they started laughing. And turns out she already read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant. But see, prior to that, I would have never asked the question. I kind of would just skip over it. We set up a recruiting appointment. I recruited her. Done. And that is a quality. We actually have 5 set. And Shondell's going to talk about her process of appointment setting. But we have a 5 appointment set this weekend with that client. 5. She has the most credibility. She has the most credibility out of everyone that I'm training right now. Not to say that everyone else doesn't, but hers is just like giant. And she just is coachable because she knows what we're going to do. She already did it in her QA. And I think I touched on methods of prospecting already, talking about where all these recruits came from. So hopefully that was helpful, guys. These are some of our basic recruiting philosophies and exactly what I did this week to get the results that we got. Thanks for chiming in. I'm gonna let Shondell take it over.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh, for that. So every time when you guys get a recruit, one of the most important things to do is take them out into the field, right? So Josh was talking about one of his recruits having unbelievable credibility. So I'm going to talk about the next steps as far as what you want to do when you get your recruit, so that way you can get into the field. So Josh said you're finding new leaders, but then also more places to go. So you want to make sure that you're laying parts of the foundation every time you talk to a recruit. When I talk to a new person, as far as a brand new prospect, it could be warm market, it could be cold market, either one, but you have to let them know right away that parts of their training is going to be in the field. That's how they're going to learn. So in my initial follow-up from a webinar, or if I'm doing an interview or meeting with someone, I'm going to let them know right away that how you're going to learn this presentation is through field training. So after I talk about some of the major things they got to do, like their background check, then also make sure they show up to Saturday training, I say field training is one of the most important things. And you have to watch me do 10 training presentations with people that fit within our qualified market, right? So usually people that are families. And so if the person's qualified, I'll say just like you, right? Either married couples or has kids. Because think about it, Esmeralda, if you watch me do 10 presentations, you think you're going to be able to learn the words? Of course, right? And they say, yeah, definitely. I'm like, yeah, it's just like your favorite song. So that's how we're going to get you trained. And we want to get you to kind of see those appointments as soon as possible. So I introduced that right in the first recruiting appointment, because the sooner that you can mention that, the less resistance you're going to get when you get to the point of starting to set appointments. And then the next thing is in the fast start meeting. So you want to schedule your fast start meeting as soon as possible. Our rule of thumb is 24 to 48 hours. sometimes you can even do it the same day. I've done that many times. You recruit somebody in the morning, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Hey, what you got going on for the rest of the day? Nothing much. Okay, cool. Well, I have an opening. We can have you watch an orientation, and then we can meet back with you that same day, right? Sometimes recruits don't get started right away, and so they schedule another day where they can submit their IBA. Cool. We'll schedule the orientation and fast start meeting that same day, right? That you're going to meet back with them, because the fast start meeting, guys, is the most important meeting for your new recruits, because that's where you're going to figure out if they have credibility and if they're going to be able to take you to see people, right? And the fast start meeting is also too where you're going to find out if you're going to need to kind of guide them a little bit and just hold their hand along the way, because sometimes people are nervous about getting out in the field or contacting people that they know. So it's either you're going to find somebody that's like, yeah, I'm going to reach out to everybody. Oh my gosh, I know all these people. And they start like even listing off people before you get to building a list. Or some people you can tell and you can feel that they might be a little nervous and they might not want to talk to people right away. So you have to figure that out. And doing a lot of fast start meetings with people, it becomes a skill as far as talking to people and extracting numbers or figuring out a way to get to that point. So you want to do that right away. You never want to recruit somebody and take more than 24 to 48 hours to meet with them. I remember Samir used to tell me, hey, if they can't come into, when we were meeting in the office, if they can't come in the next 24 to 48 hours, you go to them. But now we're on Zoom, so it's a lot easier to meet with somebody. So you want to do that fast start meeting ASAP. Then in that fast start meeting, a critical point is to go over the scripts or text messages, because there's two major ways to set up appointments, guys. The first way is to teach somebody the scripts. It's called the FETHOR script. So I'm sure you guys have probably heard that before, but the FETHOR script is favor, excited, training, help, opinion. We leave that in there sometimes, and then referrals. Right? So favor, excited, training, help, opinion, referrals. So you teach the new recruit how to go over that. And we have that on our developing your market script that we have for you guys. And we can probably send it out to you guys, but you want to practice that with the recruit. So first you're going to ask them, hey, how would you set up an appointment? And see what they say. Because sometimes they might stumble a little bit. Sometimes they might say the wrong things, like, oh yeah, I want to come over and talk to you about life insurance, investments, all of those different areas. And that's definitely not what we want them to say, right? So then once they practice or they stumble, then you tell them, okay, well, this is actually what we're going to do. So then you can go over the scripts with them. So I know that, for example, Josh will utilize FETHOR and the triangle offense, where he has them start off the process with FETHOR, and then he gets on the phone to set the actual appointment, right, as the trainer. So that's one way, which works great. The second way is through the three-way text message, which is something that I prefer to utilize. So the three-way text message is going to be where now you're going to, I prep the recruit and I say, hey, I know you might be, some people are a little nervous. They're like, oh man, I got to call people. I'm like, hey, well, yeah, well, that's something that we can eventually get to. But when you're starting off, all you really have to do is just send a text message. You just got to be introducer and introduce me to other people that you may know through a text. A lot of people nowadays text and they'll see these messages right away. So then I'm going to break down to them the two text messages that we send out. So the first one is going to be for setting up the training appointment. It's called a character reference text. So again, we've had trainings before, and this is also, this exact text is going to be on the developing your market script worksheet that we kind of have as well, if you haven't seen it, but I'm going to kind of summarize it. So the text, character reference text is going to say, hey, Mike, I just started working with a new company part-time, and I listed you as a character reference and to help with my training. Please say great things about me and expect a call from Shondell. It has my phone number listed. She's also included on this message. So the text message always goes out as a group text. So then now that person gets my number, I get their number, and they know all the reasons why they're getting the text and why they're receiving a call. So I explained that to the recruit. I'm like, hey, it's pretty straightforward, right? And they're like, yeah, exactly. And then from there, I'm going to role play the phone call, so they feel comfortable with what I'm going to do after they send out all of these text messages. So my script, I'm just going to say like really fast here. So, and again, I have another training with this, the New Age Prospecting training that I have on YouTube has this full script written out on there as well. But I basically just say, hey, can I please speak to Mike? Yes, this is Mike. Awesome. Well, I was just reaching out to you because Josh just started working with our financial company. Listed you as a character reference and someone that might be able to help out with training. He's actually getting licensed through the state. And we usually just like to get either a personal or professional character reference, just because he's going to be working with people and handling money. So you can just start off with how you know Josh, how long you've known him, and anything else you'd like to say about him as a person. So then Mike is going to literally say whatever he wants to say. And I just let them talk and say all the nice things. And then from there, I'm going to say, okay, great. Thank you so much for that reference. We're also really excited about Josh's training. So he's going through 3 types of training with us. Number 1, getting trained through his online study material. Then he has classroom training with us on Saturday morning. And then we have field training, which is the most important for Josh because it's going to allow him to see real life situations. So we usually have to see 10 training presentations with people that qualify as having families. So people that are either married, couples, or have kids. So Mike, do you personally happen to fit into any of those categories? And so obviously as a trainer, guys, we already know that because the recruit told us that. So then he's gonna be like, yeah, I'm married. I don't have any kids though. I have a puppy. And I'll be like, oh, cool, awesome, me too. So with that, then I'm gonna say, okay, cool. Well, we have some time scheduled to where we can do training with Josh and then get the appointment set. I'm also gonna preface this, guys, too, when you're setting up these appointments, let them know that they should log in from a computer. So this is where I'm gonna drop those seeds on the appointment on the phone call is, hey, have you used Zoom before? Very important question to ask. Have you used Zoom before? To make sure that they have and they're comfortable with it. Perfect. Well, we are going to be going through a presentation and asking some questions. It's going to be a little interactive. So usually it's best if you can log in from a computer or a laptop and you can have your camera on, right? Because if you say computer or laptop, they probably won't expect that they're going to be in the car on their computer or laptop, right? It should eliminate a lot of that. Some people don't, so then we have to go with the phone or the iPad, but I try to preface that to make the appointment a little bit in a better situation. So that would be the script that I go through to set up a field training appointment through a recruit. So now once that recruit sends out all those text messages, then I have this list of people that I can contact at any time, really, because they've already made the introduction. So that's why I prefer the 3-way text message. Now, from there, when you're in the meeting, so before you send out those scripts, you have to make sure you make a list and you qualify it. People do this various ways. I do the 4-minute name game, which they make a list of there's a list of categories like family, friends, coworkers, classmates, and then professionals. And you just give them 1 minute. They just dump everybody that comes to mind in any of those categories. So family, they go through, boom, 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 friends, coworkers, professionals. Then you qualify that list. So, hey, who on here is married or have a significant other, engaged, serious relationship, and then who has kids, right? And then you can put, like I put markers, either a 0 or an X. I do this on a Google Sheet. Some people have them do it on a piece of paper, but either way, you have them qualify it. And then after I do that, I'm going to figure out, okay, who are your top 10 out of these categories, whether they fit the kind of recruiting side or the appointment side. Today we're talking about appointments. So out of these top 10, okay, who's the most comfortable person that you're with, that really likes you, that's going to give you a great reference, that would be willing to help you out no matter what, and order that from 1 to 10. So then the recruit now is going to order that 1 to 10. So now I have an idea of who they probably have the most credibility with in order. So that's who I'm going to initially send those text messages out to right then. So a lot of times we get the list, but we don't qualify it properly. You got to make sure you're qualifying that list properly, because then now when you get to the appointment, you know that you're probably going to have either 4 or 5 of those points. You're going to know a little bit about them. I ask questions. What do they do for work? How do you know them? How long have you known them? Things like that. So I know prior to going into the appointment through qualifying this list, and then take action right away. So this is very important, guys, when you're in the Fast Start meeting, to either, if you're using the script, Triangle Offense or Feethor, that they make some calls in that meeting. If you're not making calls, then make sure they send the text messages in that meeting, because the longer you wait, the more anxiety is going to build up, and they may or may not do that. So you got to get some, even if you're running short on time and they can only send out 1 to 2 text messages, try to get those out, right? Because that's how I get the contacts, right? The phone numbers. So you want to make sure you take action right away. So I did that this week with one of our new directs. We're really excited about her. She's down in Georgia, and we were able to get, I think, about 2,300 in production this week, right? So we had our Fast Start meeting last week. She got started last week. We met with her sister on Friday of last week. And then this week we had a couple appointments as well, all from the text messages. So number one, you want to try to stay in that hot market, those first 1 to 10, and get those scheduled right away. So the first appointment that we had was with her sister, which was amazing. It was super easy. She was super nice. She had a long day at work, but she was like, hey, I got to help my sister out. So she got on the Zoom anyway, and it was cool because she had a lot of education, financial literacy, as far as like some of the best products to get into, which was great. So number one, that gave the new recruit more understanding as far as like, hey, well, Chanel's talking about these products. My sister already likes these products and believes in these products too. Awesome, cool. And that recruit now makes the connection that, hey, what we're doing is good, what we're doing is great. And my family's already kind of talking about this stuff and they need it. So that was awesome. We helped her with a $47 life app. Then I had an appointment with the recruit. So I think this is also important, guys. I try to do an appointment with the new recruit prior to meeting with anybody else, so that they can feel comfortable, ask me questions before we meet with anybody else. So I met with the recruit and her significant other. They live together. They have a home together. They pay bills together. And they're not like living with parents or anything like that. So we went through the presentation, and it was really cool to hear. It was a little unfortunate, but her mom passed away, and she was like, yeah, I understand the importance of insurance, because if we didn't get that money, my dad would have been in a very tough situation. So I know it. And he's been telling me, hey, I need to get my insurance now. I need to get my insurance now. So with that, she believed in the product. And so her and her significant other applied. So we picked up 2 $45 apps from that. And then the last one that we got with her this week was good friends of hers, another significant couple. They're not married yet, but they live together. They have responsibilities together and everything. And we went through group insurance because that's what they had. At least one of them had group insurance. The other one had like 3 different policies. So we're going to follow up with her on that. But the guy, he only had group insurance. And the girl was like, dude, you need to get some insurance, because if something happens, I need to make sure that I'm good and I can continue to take care of these things. But he didn't have any. We went over the group slides and he was just ready to go, make sure that he was protected as well. So when you're in the hot market, honestly, there was not very many objections at all. And that's what you want. When you go through the process of recruiting, getting into doing the Fast Start meeting, and then getting into a hot market, it's like, hey, this recruit has credibility. I like them. I trust them. They're only going to tell me good things to do. And so then here we just have to provide good information and the right thing for the client, and then we can help them move forward. So that was pretty much what I did this week to get the 2,300 in production. So I think